So I will have it recorded. I'll put it somewhere, hopefully on YouTube, when I figure out how to do it. But let's maybe try. So I was thinking of, nobody said that we should fix something particular, so I was thinking that we can work on this issue, which should be a pretty easy issue to fix. So we have this very similar to how IntelliJ works. Whenever you have a string like that and press enter, then it adds automatically enable if this configuration is enabled, it adds the strip margin. So it's automatic. But there are some situations where people might not want that. Maybe they want to use some different method of strip margin. Not sure about that, but it's always possible that somebody might not want this behavior, and this behavior might be invasive. So we created this additional setting so that people can actually turn this behavior on. But so the first thing we need to do, I actually did check it out and it wasn't working. But the first thing we can do is have this example project, Metals sample. So I'll open up VS Code inside of it, and let's see if it's actually a problem. So let's see what our settings are. It's not enabled. Let's see how it is with enabled. So with enabled, we can actually do convert to multi-line string. We should remove that. Okay. And it doesn't add it. Okay. So that is interesting because now it should add it. If I maybe remove that, maybe it will work. No, but okay, I'm thinking that, so this might have something to do with settings. So let's try to reload the window. And okay, it's reloading. It's starting. Okay, everything should be starting. Not working. Okay, so this might be not that be that easy to actually reproduce. So that is interesting. Let's see. Okay. Now that's it. Okay. Doesn't add it here. This is another bug. So it might be that it adds it only. Oh, it's not that interesting. That one is here. So it adds only at the first one, but if we turn off the setting, there might be two issues here. So let's check this again. Enable, disable. So it shouldn't add anything now. So it adds again. So it did something with the settings. So let's see. Okay, so maybe I'll check out. It's not Dota. Yes. How do I change that? I might be changing. Not Dota. Maybe I can change to programming. Basic programming. Okay. Okay. I haven't noticed it's a thing. I haven't used that in a while, but let me just check again if sounds all right. Okay, I think it sounds all right. Let's see. So we confirm it's an issue. Let's open up Metals. So we can do it. Let's see. We have Metals here. I'm on the branch main, so this is the main branch. I'll check out if I have everything new. Okay. So let's do it under branch called fix script margin. And let's start metals. Right. So close everything. So if you actually look at metals, it's quite a large code base. But if you look at Metals Language Server, this is like the entry point to everything. So Metals itself is a server, so it doesn't actually provide any editor experience, like the front-end experience. Everything is done actually via the LSP client. So you can see, for example, that this repository represents the server, but there are numerous different ones, like, for example, Metals VS Code, which is essentially the plugin extension for VS Code that you can easily install, and it starts up the server. So essentially, most things that we do are done in the server, so that, for example, it will also work in COC Metals. So this is another plugin that's COC plugin. So we want to make sure that everything works in all possible editors, if possible. Some things we have to add to the extension itself. So but most things we try to do inside the server. This here is a server issue. So let's see. So in Metals Language Server, this is what is started when Metals main inside the Metals jar is started. It does a lot of things. It also has all those providers. Each of that providers represents a specific functionality. And there's a great number of vars. They need to be instantiated as when we know the workspace root. This part might in the future be refactored, but obviously there is a lot of code, a lot of registration. Okay, but let's try to figure out how do we even start. So let's see. We can go about it two ways. It might be actually difficult to figure out what method we are using here to add the additional strip margin. So this, you can try to look at the specification. Let's see if nobody commented. Yes. Okay, that is fixed. So the LSP spec is what I usually look for. So we have this pretty large specification, and there's a lot of different things. So if you know what method is used by the client, in this case, it's actually on-type formatting. So you can see on-type formatting. Let's see where's the method. So you can actually find that this is what this actually does, what can be the responses, and you can find what is the actual method being used. So let's look for the metals through the Metals server on-type formatting. Okay, it's here. So we go here, the on-type formatting. So this is actually another thing that might be unclear to you. So if you see here, we ended up in a compilers class. This is a class is responsible for invoking the Scala compiler, the Scala presentation compiler. And in Metals are usually they only run with one single Scala version, but they can interact with different versions of the compiler via these interfaces. And this is actually being implemented. So let's see, if I didn't know where it is implemented, we can try searching presentation compiler or tense presentation compiler. Oh yeah, it's being used here. So this is the Scala presentation compiler for Scala 2. There's one for Scala 3, but it actually doesn't have the method yet implemented. Okay, so let's say on type formatting here. Oh, and this is provided. So this class is actually responsible for adding the strip margin. So okay, that's fun. So let's see how we can figure out where we have anything with user configuration. So this is another thing. So this is responsible for adding the strip margin to the end of the multiline string, but actually this must be the settings that you see in the server are actually separate thing, and they actually should be checked here. So the settings should be checked here. Let's see if we can find strip margin. Okay. Oh, there's some enable strip margin. Okay. Interesting. Enable strip margin. This comes from here. This comes from here. Enable strip margin. Format. Okay. Config. Where's config? Is the presentation compiler config? Okay. So this is actually interesting because this config is, wait, yeah, okay, It means that the config is actually not being updated when the presentation compiler is being invoked. Okay, so this is interesting. So as you can see, it has the configuration. See where it's actually being created. So we have this compilers. Okay, so this is being created here, and this kind of new compiler. Where do we actually add the configuration? That is interesting. With configuration. Okay, so this is actually being done here. Okay. User config enable strip margin on type formatting. So this is probably not being evaluated lazily. So if the user config changes, and you can see the user config is this function. So if it changes, it only uses the one from the start. So that seems to be one of the issues, but main issue. We found there's another problem with adding strip margin, but this is one of the issues. Let's see if actually, so that is actually symbol prefixes also in the user configuration. So all of that will not be evaluated lazily. This okay. So we can see the configuration. It's how is it called? Let's see. Presentation compiler config. Okay, let's see presentation compiler config. Let's see where it's extended. Fortunately, we don't have support for Scala for Java, and so fortunately, I have to search it a different way. Okay, so this is the presentation compiler configuration. This is how everything is defined for the presentation compiler, which is the part that is different for each of the compilers for each Scala version. We have a different compiler for each Scala version because of the differences between the Scala versions. We need to have access to the Scala presentation compiler, which is itself is in the compiler. That's why we need to use different Scala compilers inside methods. Okay, let's see if somebody commented something. Hi, cool. Huh. Cool. I actually have people watching, which. Okay, so let's get back to it. So this is a presentation compiler config implementation. So this part is what is used when the presentation compiler wants to know how to serve requests from the users. So this the one is strip margin on type formatting enabled is the one responsible for automatically adding strip margin. So we have different ones which are either done by the user. The user can configure it, or it can be editor-specific things. So editor might not support something, and because of that, we have to set a different configuration for the compilers to know how to serve the user. Okay, so this is an interesting issue because this is actually, we might need to, okay, so we can probably fix it by making it a lazy value, and we can do it probably something like that. Okay, so now it's not working because the additional strip margin enabled is not implemented. But as you can see, we already have some overrides here. So we can actually now strip margin enabled, and now this should actually be a lazy val. Let's see if we have any problems, because this should actually create some problems. Yes. Okay. So let's see. This should be that. This should be now lazy. Okay. All compiled. Okay, so I think I fixed the issue, but it's actually so we can do two things. We can either test it via test. We have different. You can usually the test name is the name of the provider. So we have this multi-line string formatting provider, and usually it's very similar. And with LSP suite ending. But this one is not. And I think it's because this is on type formatting suite. So this is a different suite. But we have a lot of different suites. That was actually pretty well tested. And we have those nice tests here that have some easy to understand semantics. So a lot of the tests you can just add an additional simple test that shows your issue. And if we check here, for example, we can see that this test is working this way, that this is the name of the test. This is the situation before clicking enter. And this is where the cursor is located. This is the situation after the cursor, after the enter is pressed, and this is how it should look. So this is, we like to write the test so that it's easy to see what the test entails. So this test is just checking if when pressing enter in a multi-line string, it will add the additional pipe. So and we can see the situation, we can add new issues, and this is usually not that difficult. But in this situation, since it's a number of additional problems here, for example, this strip margin enabled is actually, oh, maybe we can, so this is not that easy to test, but I will try to add a test, but I want to quickly check if it's working locally. To test if something is working locally, I'll just do SDT publish local. So this will actually publish the version of the server that I have here with the additional changes. It's always good to add tests, but I wanted to make sure this is working since the test is not that easy and I want to test it quicker. Sometimes it's faster to write the test, sometimes it's faster to just publish it locally. And since it haven't, so if you run, for one important thing to note, SDT publish local will only publish the version of the server and the version of the compiler that the server is running on. So in this case, it's 2.12.12. So mtags 2.12.12 is the actual module that is responsible for the compiler, while we can see Metals itself here, which is the server. So if you run SBT publish local, it will only publish the compiler for the 2.12.12 version. But if you can also run SBT plus publish local, which will just publish for every version. But I don't recommend it when testing locally because we have 7-8 versions that will recompile for each of those versions, and that may take a while. Okay, so I did have this sample project. Let's open it up again, and let's see how we can change the version of the server. So also we need to check if we have 2.12.12 version. It is not 2.12.12 version, so something might be, we will not test the actual change because we haven't published the compiler for 2.12, for 2.13.3. We did only publish it for 2.12.12. And I need to run build import so that the version is updated. As you can see, it's running here. And in the meantime, I can check what is the version of Metals in this workspace. Okay, so we can see that's the latest released version, and we can change it to the snapshot version that we just published. We can see that the import stopped, it compiled everything. Let's reload the window as the window says. Stream margin is enabled. Let's see if it's working. Let's remove everything. See, okay. It doesn't add it. Okay, that is interesting. Might be another bug. Hopefully not. Ah, no, actually. So this is another thing that I now stumbled upon. So this is actually the user setting. The user setting is that it's disabled. And if you see here, this is specified, while I think the workspace is showing the default, but it's saying it's modified in the user, and it's actually not being defined here. So this is a bit misleading, but because it looks like it's enabled in the workspace, but it's not. Okay, so let's try to enable it. And hopefully this should work. Yes, it works. Okay, cool. Let's see. Let's remove it again. We can change the setting again. Disable it. Okay, disabled it. And It's working. Okay, so it was the actual issue. And so you can see, I'll turn it on again. What is happening here in the settings, so all those settings, whenever you change them, are being sent to the server in a request, which is configuration, did change configuration. Okay, let's see, where's it going? So this is actually sending those settings as any. So this for us is a JSON. So whenever something changes, it is sent to the server. That's why we need to have this parameter lazy, because each time something changes, we need to update that. It's possible to have done differently, but it's currently done this way inside Metals. We can Metals Language Server. This is the main thing, and this is actually the main place that this is being used is user config, and can find all the places where the user config is used. So it's used in a lot of places, and always used as a method, because this user config can change. And it is being changed here. So you can see that this is another JSON RPC notification that is coming from the client, and it has some JSON that can have some new values. We have the logic for modifying everything here, but normally it's just, you can see that it's just the user config being changed, and we have this old value here, and being so this var is being actually changed. So as you can see, Metals is also not super. Everything is not being done super according to not having vars and stuff like that, because in some cases it might actually be more difficult to always have vals everywhere. And here, user config, we have it specified as user configuration. There's a default, and each provider is just having this as a function, so it always gets you the newest user configuration. Okay, but so this is working. That's cool, but it's always better to add a test. So this test might be actually more complicated, as it is in many cases. It might be more complicated than the actual problem. But as you can see, the tests are done this way. So you can see that this check is just a method that we handle everything here. So we have a lot of those check methods for each different feature that we are testing, and the whole test is actually being run here. So we have this testing server, which we initialize. It actually has this simple build tool. It is actually very simple, because this actually defines a simple module A with that will have those source roots, and this is just for testing. So this is like we don't want to run each time we have a test. We don't want to run a build to generate the configuration. We quickly generate configuration for Bloop that is compiling everything via quick build, which normally you shouldn't need to fix or change, and I don't think we will need to do it here. Okay, so this is actually, we can do it, we can actually test it, I think, quite easily. So we can actually send few, maybe no. So I am thinking that we can actually send 3 different requests and see if this is being actually updated. But how? Okay, let me just think about it. So this is so each of the checks can have some additional properties. So we add more properties, parameters to the method so that we can change, test different things while still having this being a very simple way to specify tests. So all the tests look pretty nice, I think. But sometimes we need to have some specific use case that is not being tested. So I think we can have, what if we do, let's see, additional request. I'm thinking we can do testing. Let's do testing server and do unit maybe. And this is say server, the server being, I want to do equals, server equals nothing. Will that work? No, because, yes. So let's check, where do we have, okay. So we can have a test. So this is a simple test with no strip margin. Wait, how is that working? Let me check if maybe the test case actually changed, because this actually doesn't have the strip margin disabled and it's not adding the strip margin. Okay. See in the debug console. Okay, actually maybe I'll run. So the way I usually run a single test, you can have only or it needs to be test options. We're using our own testing library, obviously, which is MBUnit, that has a bunch of useful things like only. And now if I run a test, it should only run that particular test. Okay, let's see if it actually works. This is, it works. Not sure why, but I will get back to it later. Maybe. Let's try to, so this should have it as false. Actually do it as a future, I think. And now we can do the additional request of server, and we can actually copy this, and that will be false, and we want to have it changed to true, and it can be the server on this. Yeah, I have it already. Change configuration and say we want it to true, and we want to have strip margin here. Okay. Okay. We can. I think I actually have, because you can actually remember all those configurations. So do I have on type formatting suite? No. So this is actually, I'll just copy it, and it's on type formatting suite. Maybe I'll copy that so that it's easier. Yeah, good. And now I should be able to do test on type formatting suite, and I should just, okay, it's not compiling. That's We have a future here now. Okay. So this is compiling, and now I should be able to run the test. So what will happen here is that the first configuration should, wait, it seems to be working. So what is happening here, the first configuration is setting it to false, and then we're doing this additional request that are changing it to true so that we have the strip margin added. We can actually check it here if we want. We can actually revert this, if maybe not revert, but okay. Let's say it's working because we have those cases here and here. So this is actually being changed. Otherwise, this test would work the same way as this. So I should have probably first wrote the test, but here it was much easier to just figure it out on the go. But we have the test, we have these changes, so I think we're good to go. Okay, so let's create a commit. So let's call it fixed to enable strip margin setting. Okay, can push it. That's my origin, which is my fork. And we can create a PR. So obviously I had a typo. It's usually nice to say what was the previous behavior. So the enable strip margin setting was not being updated. Now it is now it's evaluated lazily. Say something like that. So there should probably be a bit better description, but that actually looks like a pretty small PR. And let's say fixes this. So we can now ask, for example, Chris to take a look at it, and that should be it. Okay, let's see. I don't think anybody. So let's see if we have something. We have still, that took 40 minutes, so it's faster than I thought. We can try to fix something else. So let's see. For example, here. So this should also be simple enough. So this was reported with a reproduction, which is always awesome. So let's try again to reproduce it. It was here. So let's say, because this issue is with the feature that we have that's based on the code action. So code action is something that you can either do via clicking on something. So you actually could have seen previously a code action. So A equals something, and we can convert that to a multi-line string. So this is a pretty neat feature. This is one of the code action. Another code action is that we can have, for example, try, and another try, and see, this is actually not imported. So you can click Alt Enter and import it. We also have a feature that you can actually have a range, and you can import everything. And we have actually duplicated everything. So what we need to do now, so we can see that this is actually an issue. And we can actually take a look at where the code actions are. So let's look into the specification again, and it's code actions, code action, text document code action. Okay. So you can see it's a request. So this should be in the Metals Language Server. Metals Language Server. See where it's defined. Okay, it's called action provider. See where it's defined. See, we do have a lot of, maybe not a lot, but 4 different code actions. And we can see that abstract method, import missing symbol. So this one is the one that was actually being reported. So we can see that we have, it's not that large code base, and I think we have a really nice test for it. So let's see, import missing symbol suit. Oh, yeah, there's one. So it's a good thing usually to name your test suit the same as your the provider that it's adding the functionality. Okay, I think we do have tests for ranges. Okay, where is it? Multi-cross line, non-ambiguous line. Okay, let's just copy this check and try not to good test. Yeah, we can actually. It probably doesn't matter. It just I didn't have time ever to take a look into the what those checks. But you can see again that we have this nice check. It's defined here. We can just specify what we want to test. So we want to change test to have try, and maybe we want to do another try. So let's say vol g equals another try, and we can have those. So this symbolizes a range, and it should only show us a try, one try. So I think that's Scala util try, if I'm not mistaken, and it should also enable us to create a try. And what should happen? We should import this try, and it all should look the same, but without the additional here. All right. So let's see if so this one should fail. So this is the approach I should have taken with the last issue. And again, so in MUnit you can either use string or test options, and test options are translated. Strings can be translated to test options, but with test options we have this nice ability to have multiple. We have this nice ability to specify, for example, this only tag, or we can ignore test. We can we have tags that specify that test can be flaky on Windows, and multiple try. Okay, so let's try to run it, and will it fail? Please fail. Yeah. So you can see that it's actually reproduced the issue, and we have this additional try, and so we have double the tries. So we actually in this test we can see that we have even more issues than we had in issue itself, so the GitHub issue itself. So okay, so that's nice. Let's maybe add ourselves a new configuration. We can actually change that because we have quite a lot of those. And I can just change it to that. And that is, okay, that shouldn't be, okay, that's the name. So there's no actual way to currently run a single test, but by using the only tag. So this is a feature that we direly need to be able to just run a single test. Or another thing that we're thinking about is having an ability to rerun a test on each change, but unfortunately nobody had the time to implement this. So this is import missing suit. Let's see if it's working. It's not. I have probably, yeah, this is not existing. Yeah, because it's in a package code action. If anything like that happens, you can usually find it in the bottom right corner because there's no easier way to. Unfortunately, most editors that use LSP don't allow it to be in the middle, so that it's easier for people to see the issue. But now it should work. Again, it changed. Now it should be that. Yes, it's working. Okay. So let's go back to import missing symbol. So let's see. We have this sequence of code actions. I wonder if you can just do this and to sec. No, that should not be it. It's not this. Maybe. I have not actually touched the code, but not that complicated. So let's see. So this is import symbol based on one diagnostic. See where it's invoked. Okay, it's being invoked here. So we could actually, I think, deduplicate the name. So see, good diagnostics. Is there a method for duplicating a thing? To set will not work because each diagnostic is a different thing. I do goodbye, I guess. No, that's not Scala. Goodbye and the symbol not found. Okay. Symbol not found. It's done actually with a regex. Okay. So okay, that's import missing symbol name. So we don't actually want to also invoke. So the most efficient way to do it would be to duplicate the symbol not found. So I think we do have to do group by and do the same as is being done here, and do name and or so this unapply. Okay. So that is not perfect. So this will group by the specific name. I don't know, that should work. Too many arguments from. Okay. So by okay, that's weird. Yeah, that couldn't have worked. So goodbye should actually have name and we can actually have a name here, I think, and Yax, I think. Okay. The buffer of diagnostics. So we can do dot head range. So since we already deduplicated everything, okay. This is not being used, okay. So, okay. That should help at least with the duplicate imports. Let's see. But it will probably not help with the new symbol. So, yeah, we got one thing deduplicated, but the create new symbol is still not. So this is actually another code action. Let's go back to where all those are defined. It's defined here. This is the create new symbol. And we can just do the same thing here. Group by. So let's see. Dot can do this. Okay, and group by name. And we also don't want to have multiple options of creating the same symbol. So this symbol not found enables people to just quickly create any, for example, domain-specific class, so that they don't have to always just create everything from scratch and then only then figure out how to connect it together, but they can just do it on the fly. So it's pretty useful. So it was name, Yax, almost, and goodbye, and that's what found. I forgot about the case. That was not working. And we can use head here, since we, if we group something by, the list cannot be empty. So the buffer cannot be empty. Okay. What is the contribute? That's just weird. It's not working. Turbo code action. Okay, let's do it sec. It doesn't work. Okay, it works. Cool. And we can run the test. Okay. So as we know, this was create new symbol. Scala to try. Yeah. So that's that was my bad. Import meeting symbol LSP suit, and that is this. Let's see again. Okay. This be working. Yes, it's working. Okay. We should remove the only. It will actually fail on CI. So just to remove it. I hope I removed it in the other test, but not sure. I'll probably have to fix that then. Okay, I actually did forget to create a separate bench, but I think we can get away with it. Fix multiple. We can actually have it one. Now we can do commit fix multiple so non-distinct. Yeah, naming is the most difficult thing. So fix multiple same and code actions, and then I need to do some magic. That's a comment. Probably somebody who's much better versed in Git will have a better idea, but I will just create a new branch and just cherry pick. Okay, so that would be fix code action. Okay, and we can do cherry pick. Probably not the best programmer trick, but we can now do push, and we can create another PR. Okay. Okay. So did I add the only? That's the question. Obviously, I need to fix that. So this will actually fail because we have a check in munit that makes sure this is not being used on CI, because this will make all the other tests not work. So we have this done. We have everything. That looks good. Fixes import suggestion. So okay, we can try like previously the when multiple diagnostics were when multiple diagnostics. Damn it. When diagnostics were showing same symbol, code actions were duplicated. Now we make sure for each unique symbol we have a single code action. I think that's fine. And I think we can, maybe the name will be multiple, fix the duplicated code action. Okay, cool. So that's another one. We can try to fix the issue with name. Checkout fix. What was the name? Fix script margin. Okay, and let's see. That was in the on-time formatting suite, and that had the only. So, and we can just amend the comment because nothing actually is being changed. Not that much is being changed. So we usually just keep it like some single backtick, a single logic. We try to keep in one commit. The only minus is that I have to push it with a plus. This means for anyone not knowing, this means that I'm force pushing, which this is fine because it's my brand. I never force push to branches on the main repo. I can just break my own repository, which is fine. Okay, so let's see if somebody sequence. Okay. Yeah, I've seen the force list, but I always forget about it. Yeah. I should probably have a better setup so I can actually read the comments at the same time. But yeah, I haven't had. I will figure it out next time. Okay, I think fixing two issues is pretty good. I'm wondering if anybody has another issue they would like to take a look at, or I don't want to fix all the easy issues right now because maybe somebody wants to start contributing, and it's always nice to start with an easy one. We have a lot of issues. I try to fix them whenever I can, especially if it's something major. As you can see, if you know the code base, so I have a lot of experience with the code base, so it's quite easy to figure out where the issue is. But if you don't know where the issue is located, you can always ask me on the issue. I'll try to find a specific place and try to give as much hints as possible. So if you're interested in contributing, please do. I will try to help you as much as possible. We do get contributors, which is awesome because sometimes people, for example, there's this SBT support contribution, which actually this was done almost without my help. So it's pretty awesome to have, and we'll probably soon the blue part is merged, and soon we'll probably have support for SBT. So you can try some bigger features, and I would also try to help out, but as you can see, it's not all that difficult. Some easier issues might become more difficult sometimes, so so here we mostly have anything that we're working on now. So I try to get bugs are usually the easiest to work on, while features might be more interesting, but obviously might also be more difficult. If you're interested in contributing some features, we have a lot of great ideas from people, and I can see, for example, this might be quite easy, move class to file. So this might not. So this might require on the parser and figuring out where the class starts and ends, and just adding to wherever you have an enter on a class that is located in a file that has a different name than the class. You can suggest that it can be moved, and I think this should be pretty easy to do. We can join that with the new file provider. So new file provider is the thing that if you invoke the new Scala file, it will bootstrap like the basic structure for the class or object, and we can reuse some of that logic here. So to create this code action, and this code action should be pretty nice and simple. Not sure if we have a lot. This could be also easy. Some of it might feel easy, not be easy, but if you ever feel like working on a feature, you can always ask me. I can also try to, if possible, to maybe spend half an hour and try to help any new contributors that are interested in features. But hopefully I will record this and put it on YouTube. So hopefully anybody that's interested can also take a look there. And I think an hour is enough, because I'm pretty happy with fixing two issues on the stream, and I thought nothing would be fixed. So that's awesome. Say distinct. So this, I don't think it would work because we are inside of Metals, we are actually using a Java library. So this is used to communicate with the client. And since the diagnostic, I don't think like the diagnostic equals comes from here, and the equals here. So there's code, there's source, there's range. So yeah. So whenever you do equals, which would be used by distinct, it would not be the same, especially that the range for each diagnostic would be different. So I needed to extract the name, and when extracting the name, if let's see, import missing symbol. So by extracting the name, which I did, I'm on a different branch. To this one. Yeah. So this actually tries to figure out if it's a correct diagnostic. So this is the thing that, so whenever you have an error in the workspace, this gives us a diagnostic from the build server, which is blue. And we try to use a regex on that to figure out what is the name of the symbol. And only that's why I'm doing group by, because otherwise I would have to change it. I don't think it's the simplest I think I could do, because we still need the diagnostic, and group by helps with that. And this actually has the minimal possible impact on, because we only do like import missing symbol. It actually works with the compiler, so we don't want to have it invoked for each diagnostic separately. I first try to analyze the diagnostics and see if there are actually the symbol not found diagnostic, and then we can just group by name, because it is identified by name, and then for each name we can just run the import missing symbol function, which will contact the compiler and create a separate code action for each. So it's really nice to use distinct, but because we are using Java and the equals, that wouldn't work, unfortunately. Okay. I think I will finish with that. Thank you for everyone who was watching. I'll try to put this up on YouTube, probably create a separate Scala Meta YouTube channel, and try to put more instructions there. Maybe we could do the stream as a weekly thing, because somehow I'm pretty productive on it. And I think that's it. Thank you, everyone. And hopefully I managed to explain things. And if not, please do ask wherever you want, GitHub, Discord, Twitter, ask away. I'll try to explain as much as possible. I'm not only about, I haven't said that, but I'm working for Scala Center. So I'm working at VirtusLab, but I'm working as a contributor for Scala Center. And Scala Center is also about education. So we want to make sure that we not only create things, we do want to create a nice ecosystem, tooling ecosystem, but we also want to get people involved, educate people. So whenever we can, we try to educate. And this, I think, is a good way to have some way of educating people. So streaming, if you feel like it's not your thing, or you feel like it's a bit, it's not too great, then please do comment, obviously. Any feedback will be welcome. So yeah, thank you very much, and I will stop